Zanesville is still buzzing from Ohio State's national championship win over Oregon nearly 3 weeks ago. The Bucks shocked the world and did so with the help of a defensive lineman who hails from right here in the WHIZ City. So joining me now is the pride of Bishop Rosecrans High School, Ohio State sophomore defensive lineman Aaron Parry. Hey, my man, congratulations and thanks so much for joining me.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me.
Nearly 3 years ago to this day, actually, I think it was February 1st, 2012. We're sitting here on January 30th. You signed a letter of intent to play with Walsh. Now, 3 years later, you're a national champion for Ohio State. I mean, could you have imagined this happening? You know, when you rewind time in your wildest dreams, that now you'd be sitting here as a national champion.
No, I really couldn't. It's a childhood dream of every kid growing up in Ohio to be a Buckeye, and when it all sunk in, it was like a dream come true. So it was something that's just almost like you could never imagine.
And what makes it even more impressive is the adversity that you battled. I mean, you had shoulder surgeries on both of your shoulders. You can draw parallels with the way your team battled adversity this season. So, I mean, I guess the question I want to ask you here is, how important is it to have walk-ons and guys like you who have overcome so much in Urban Meyer's program, and how much do you guys help this team out?
Well, they always reference to the Tom Coughlin quote that you're only as good as your 53rd man, but in college case, 115th man. Mm-hmm. And that's true. If you have walk-ons that compete for spots, then you'll have competitive excellence throughout the entire practice and game.
So I kind of want to rewind here. Take me back first off to September 6th. That Virginia Tech loss. Your team already on its second quarterback. I mean, you guys easily could have crumbled right then and there. That's definitely a game you should have won. What was the mood like in the locker room? I'm really anxious to hear, from a guy who has invested everything into this program. What was the mood like after that game? Because obviously a lot of people threw in the towel on you guys, but you guys didn't do that.
It was a time for us to reflect and really kind of see what we haven't done and how we could prepare better and get better, how we could push each other more on the field, off the field, in the weight room. Just a time for everyone to really recollect and get better at everything in their life.
And you do just that. Then we fast forward to the Michigan game. JT goes down and a guy named Cardale Jones, your third quarterback, steps in. And what I want to ask you, that had to motivate you, seeing, the rest is history from that point forward. And then, what do you know? Who could have imagined at the beginning of the season that they would be having an NFL Live segment centered around the decision of Cardale Jones? But that has to motivate you as a walk-on, seeing a guy that was third on the depth chart come in and make that big of an impact as a player.
Yeah, well, that goes back to our slogan, competitive excellence. That means being ready when your number's called. And during practice, we take thousands of mental reps, hundreds of game reps. So when your number's called, it's like you've done it over and over again. You can get in there and the nerves are relaxed, and that was the theory must work, because we saw it, spot on with Cardale.
Now, you practiced against him, correct?
Yeah.
Obviously, defensive lineman, quarterback, you went up against him on the practice squad. Did you have any idea that he was going to be this good? As a third-string quarterback?
No, if you remember back in the spring game, I got a sack on him. So
there you go.
I thought, man,
shout that out, man. Yeah.
I was like, this is. But no, I knew he was really impressive, because if you're playing at that level, you've got to be, somewhat athletic, and I never realized just how great he was, and I really didn't get to see it all that often, though.
And, okay, we're going to have a little bit of fun now. So you dressed for the national championship, and you made headlines. Let's pull up. We have these photos in the back. Let's pull the first one up. You made headlines with a couple of photos. Take me through this right now. So you're coming out of the tunnel, smoke in your face, and all of a sudden there's this cheerleader on the ground in front of you. Well, first off, who's number 73? Because I know there's no NCAA football 2015, but your awareness rating is clearly higher than number 73. What was going through your head?
Well, when that happens, you just got to link onto the person in front of you and hope stuff like that does not happen. So when it did, we're like, uh-oh, we've got a problem. I felt really bad for that, for the cheerleader, and I'm glad she's okay and everything. But for me to stop and try to kind of help her up would have been.
That's what I was going to say, because I'm sure you got a lot of grief and a lot of text messages, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but people telling you, well, I mean, how can you help her up? Because you're coming out of the tunnel, you've got another 50, 60 guys behind you. It's almost just kind of like you did the best thing possible, just not run her over. I
was like, just jump over, because if I'd have stopped and helped her up, we'd have been me and her would have been at the bottom of a 20-man pile up.
Exactly.
And so it was, I think, lucky for me and her for me just to do and I got to show off my jumping skills.
Exactly,
so
yeah, man. The agility and the vertical was on display right there. And I mean, you can darn well dunk a basketball, so you're putting your basketball skills to work there. And the second photo, let's punch this one up. This is your profile picture on Twitter, actually.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Describe to me what was going through your head at this moment. I mean, what a sweet feeling. I mean, everything you've worked for, you're lying on the turf in Jerry World as a national champion. I mean, how awesome was this?
Yeah, that's something a teammate and myself had planned. It was just a quick moment just to really let everything sink in. And as I was laying there, it was just like surreal. I mean, it was just like a dream come true. It was almost an indescribable feeling that we were actually national champions. It was crazy, to say the least.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's almost indescribable. And I mean, speaking of teammates, a guy, a big reason why you had the opportunity to do that was Joey Bosa. And coming from a fellow defensive lineman, I mean, what's it like to be on the same team and be able to learn from him? I mean, arguably the best defensive lineman in the country. I mean, he's a beast.
Yeah.
What's it like to be able to practice with him?
Well, one thing you're going to get every day is toughness, relentlessness. He's just going to go all the time, and he's going to go fast and strong. And it's cool to be able to kind of stand behind somebody like that and watch how they work their technique, because the guy's going to be an all-pro, Hall of Famer. So it's just the experience of a lifetime to be able to play behind somebody like that.
And I'm sure you've already probably gotten this question before. Joey's coming back next year. You're coming back next year. All your quarterbacks are coming back next year. I mean, winning the national title is hard, but defending that title is arguably even harder. So what's your team's mindset right now? If you can kind of let me in on the inside here in terms of repeating.
When we get our rings, it's going to be like the blood transfusion that occurred through us, and we're going to be the team everybody wants to take down. So I think when we have something that bonds us all together, that everybody on the team will work extra hard, study film harder, run faster to keep that so coveted.
And I mean, to be able to have this target on your back, I know you understand how fortunate you are, but I think especially when you put it into perspective, coming from a small town like Zanesville, and of course you were born and raised in another small town, Cambridge, Ohio. I mean, everyone around here is just so proud of you. I mean, how humbling is it to come from, especially a Division 6, now Division 7 football school in Bishop Rosecrans, and now you're a national champ?
Well, I grew up in a community in Cambridge and Zanesville where it was people that gave so much to have the youth succeed in sports and academics, social life. So the least is to, share the experience, and that's why I'm just so grateful to be able to come back and enjoy it with everybody. And it's really a time for me to let everybody know how thankful I am that I was given that opportunity to succeed and set on a path where there was no way I could fail.
Well, like I said, man, you've certainly made this community proud, and best of luck in terms of health and continued success, and hopefully we'll definitely be able to see you on the field next year.
Yeah, you will.
That's Ohio State sophomore defensive lineman Aaron Parry. We'll be back to wrap up the news right after this.